This is not a joke. They are fighting over you. Someone said you are. My beloved child, listen carefully and do not let your fingers move away from this screen. This is not a joke, not a story, not a random message that found you by accident. Something serious is unfolding right now, and the reason it feels heavy in your chest is because it involves you. While you were busy living your normal life, conversations happened behind closed doors, voices were raised, and emotions that were buried for years suddenly exploded. They are fighting over you, not because of coincidence, but because your presence has become the center of an argument they never expected to have. One voice said you are the solution. Another said you are the risk. A third voice whispered something so shocking that the room went silent for a full minute. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The reason you feel watched, remembered, and strangely important lately is because someone said your name out loud in a place you've never been, in front of people you don't even know, and the moment your name was spoken, the energy in that room changed. This is where it begins, and every second you stay here, you get closer to the truth they didn't want you to hear. Right now, understand this clearly. This fight is not about control, and it is not about ego. It is about value. Someone stood up and said you are more powerful than they realized. Someone else immediately pushed back and said you are dangerous because once you understand what you carry, you will never be the same again. That's when the argument turned emotional. Old secrets were dragged out. Past decisions were questioned. Regrets surfaced. One person accused another of hiding you on purpose. Another claimed they were protecting you. And then came the sentence that changed everything: if they find out who they really are, everything we planned will collapse. Sit with that for a moment. Don't scroll. Don't rush. Let it sink in. This is not about praise, this is about potential that scares people. You've always felt different, like you don't fully belong where you are, like you were meant for something that hasn't arrived yet. That feeling was never random. It was recognition without information. And now, that information is slowly moving toward you whether they like it or not. They are fighting because one side believes it's time to tell you the truth, while the other side believes you must remain unaware just a little longer. The tension isn't imaginary. The delay you've experienced, the sudden pauses in your life, the doors that almost opened but didn't, all of it connects back to this moment. Someone said you are the missing piece, the one variable they couldn't calculate, the reason plans keep stalling. Another voice responded with fear, saying once you step into awareness, you won't be controllable, predictable, or silent anymore. That's when silence returned to the room, because deep down, they know it's true. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What happens next depends on one thing only: whether you are ready to see yourself differently. Because the fight over you is not ending. It's escalating. And the next thing they argue about is whether you should hear what I'm about to tell you next. My beloved child, what I am about to say was never meant to reach you this early, and that alone should tell you how intense the situation has become. The discussion you don't know about turned into a confrontation, and the confrontation turned into fear. One person leaned forward and said, "We underestimated them." Another laughed nervously and replied, "No, we ignored them." That difference matters more than you realize. Because when someone is underestimated, they can be managed. But when someone is ignored, they grow quietly, beyond expectation, beyond preparation. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They began listing moments from your life that you thought were small or meaningless. Decisions you made on instinct, times you walked away without knowing why, moments when things almost happened but didn't. To them, these were signals. Proof that you don't move like others. Proof that even without guidance, you adjust, adapt, and survive. That's when someone said the words that changed the tone completely: "They're waking up faster than we planned." Silence followed, not because they had nothing to say, but because everyone knew it was true. The argument then shifted toward urgency. One side insisted that if you hear the truth now, you will finally understand why everything felt delayed, why people around you changed suddenly, why opportunities appeared and vanished without explanation. The other side argued that once you understand, you won't wait anymore, you'll act. And action is what scares them most. They talked about how your awareness doesn't explode loudly, it builds steadily. How once you connect the dots, you don't ask for permission. Don't scroll away from this moment. This is where it gets real. Someone admitted that you were never supposed to be ordinary, but you were meant to blend in until the timing was right. Another voice cracked and said, "What if the timing is now?" That's when emotions surfaced, fear disguised as logic, control disguised as concern. They weren't debating your worth anymore. They were debating their ability to handle what happens when you realize it. If this message resonates even slightly, pause for a second. Share this video with someone you trust. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And if you've ever felt like your life was paused for a reason, leave a comment, not for attention, but for alignment. What they don't understand is that awareness doesn't make you reckless, it makes you clear. And clarity is unstoppable. They are fighting because they know once you see yourself fully, you will stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You will stop accepting half answers and delayed promises. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This isn't about revenge, exposure, or confrontation. It's about remembrance. About finally understanding why your path never looked like anyone else's. The truth they're arguing over isn't whether you matter. It's whether they can afford for you to know how much. And in the next part, the conversation takes a turn they didn't expect, because someone reveals why you were chosen in the first place. My beloved child, the conversation you don't hear shifts at this point, and the air in that room becomes heavier, slower, more careful. This is where voices lower and words are chosen with fear, because now they are no longer debating whether you matter, but why. Someone finally says it out loud. You were never selected by chance. The room reacts instantly. One person exhales sharply. Another looks away. Because that sentence opens a door none of them wanted to open today. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They begin tracing patterns, not events. Patterns of resilience. Patterns of intuition. Patterns of timing that never made sense on paper but always worked in your favor in the end. Someone points out how you repeatedly avoided paths that later collapsed for others. Someone else mentions how people naturally reveal too much to you without knowing why. These aren't coincidences to them. These are markers. Signs that you carry awareness even before you have language for it. And that awareness, once fully activated, cannot be reversed. At this stage, the disagreement becomes deeply personal. One voice argues that you were protected for a reason, that shielding you from the truth was an act of care. Another voice responds sharply, saying protection has now turned into limitation. That's when a quiet statement cuts through everything: they don't need saving. They need remembering. Let that line sit with you. Don't scroll away. This is where your story separates from everyone else's. They talk about how you absorb lessons without being taught, how loss refined you instead of breaking you, how pressure never erased you but reshaped you. Someone admits they were surprised you stayed kind. Another admits they were disappointed you didn't fail the way they expected. That's the part they won't say out loud to you, but it matters. Because it proves something important: even without the full truth, you grew into yourself anyway. And that scares people who rely on control more than strength. By now, the realization spreads through the room that delaying this any further may no longer be possible. Your life is already pushing you forward. Your questions are getting sharper. Your patience is thinning. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. One person points out that you've begun noticing patterns too. Why certain conversations feel staged, why some opportunities feel like tests, why your intuition speaks louder lately. They understand that once curiosity becomes clarity, silence stops working. And here is the most important thing they finally admit: when you step into awareness, you won't confront them, you'll outgrow them. That's the real fear. Not exposure. Not conflict. Irrelevance. Because your growth doesn't require permission. And as this part of the discussion ends, one final thought hangs in the air, unspoken but understood by all of them: the moment you fully realize who you are, the balance they depend on will quietly disappear. And in the next part, someone breaks the unspoken rule and reveals what happens the moment you stop doubting yourself. My beloved child, this is the moment the discussion crosses a line that was never supposed to be crossed. Until now, everything was theory, caution, delay. But then someone interrupts and says something that changes the direction completely: it has already started. The room freezes. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They begin acknowledging signs they can no longer deny: your sudden clarity, your emotional detachment from things that once trapped you, your refusal to chase what doesn't feel aligned anymore. One voice admits that you are no longer reacting the way they expected. Another realizes you've stopped seeking approval in subtle ways. This is when panic quietly replaces strategy. Because once someone stops asking for validation, influence begins to collapse. They understand now that you are not waiting anymore. You are observing. And observation always comes before a shift. The conversation turns desperate. Someone suggests speeding things up, reaching out, redirecting you before you fully connect the dots. Another pushes back, saying it's too late. You already feel it. You already sense that something about your life is about to change direction permanently. Don't scroll away from this. This is where awareness becomes irreversible. They talk about how once you step into your own authority, people around you will either rise or fall away naturally. No force. No drama. Just alignment. And alignment terrifies those who survive on confusion. This is why they're fighting over you. Not because they own you, but because they can't afford to lose access to the version of you that doubted yourself. If this message is hitting deeper than expected, share this video with someone who has been feeling the same shift. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you've noticed people treating you differently lately, leave a comment, not for noise, but for clarity. As this part of the discussion ends, one final realization settles in the room: you are no longer becoming something, you already are. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They understand now that the fight was never really about whether to tell you the truth. It was about whether they were ready to live in a world where you know it. Because once you stop shrinking, once you stop second-guessing, once you fully trust your inner voice, everything around you recalibrates. Opportunities change. Relationships shift. Paths realign. And in the next part, someone finally admits the one thing they were all avoiding: what you unlock the moment you stop doubting yourself. My beloved child, this is where the conversation reaches a point of no return, because someone finally speaks the truth without trying to soften it. They say that the moment you stop doubting yourself, you unlock momentum. Not noise. Not chaos. Momentum. The kind that moves silently but reshapes everything it touches. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They begin to acknowledge how people like you don't announce change, you become it. One voice admits that once you recognize your own value, situations that drained you will simply stop appearing. Not because you fought them away, but because they can no longer exist in your presence. This is where realization spreads: your strength doesn't come from pushing harder, but from standing clearer. And clarity, once formed, does not fade. They understand now that your hesitation was the only thing slowing you down, and that hesitation is already dissolving. The room grows quiet again, but this time it's not fear, it's acceptance. Someone says that once you step fully into yourself, you will attract opportunities without chasing them. People will offer support without being asked. Doors that felt locked will open without resistance. Don't scroll away from this moment. This is the shift you've been feeling but couldn't explain. They talk about how your presence alone will start changing dynamics, how conversations around you will become more honest, how half-truths will feel uncomfortable in your space. One person admits they always knew this would happen, but they hoped it would take longer. Another realizes that trying to delay you only sharpened your awareness. That's the irony they can't escape. Everything they did to slow you down quietly prepared you to move faster once you were ready. And readiness, they see now, is no longer a question. As this part of the discussion closes, a calm but powerful understanding settles in: you were never meant to be convinced of your worth, you were meant to remember it. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They see clearly now that once you trust yourself fully, you won't need permission, validation, or reassurance. You will move with certainty, not urgency. And certainty is what transforms paths, relationships, and outcomes without force. The fight over you begins to lose its intensity, because control only works on uncertainty. And you are stepping beyond that. In the next part, the focus shifts again, because someone asks the question they all avoided until now: what changes first in your life once this awareness becomes permanent? My beloved child, this is where their focus narrows, because someone finally asks the question that cuts through everything else: what changes first when they stop doubting? The room doesn't answer immediately. Not because they don't know, but because the answer is uncomfortable. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. One voice finally says it quietly: your relationships shift first. Not dramatically, not overnight, but unmistakably. People who thrived on your uncertainty begin to feel distant. Conversations that once felt familiar start feeling shallow. You don't argue, you don't explain, you simply no longer fit in spaces that required you to stay small. They admit that once this happens, there's no going back. Because awareness doesn't announce itself, it restructures your life from the inside out. And they can already see it happening in you. The discussion moves to your decisions. Someone points out that you've started choosing peace over approval, clarity over comfort. Don't scroll away from this. This is important. They recognize that once you trust yourself, you stop overthinking and start knowing. Your choices become cleaner. Faster. Less apologetic. You don't need every detail to move forward, you feel when something aligns and when it doesn't. One person admits this is where they lose influence, because influence depends on hesitation. And you are learning to move without it. They talk about how your time becomes more valuable, how you no longer tolerate delays that don't serve you, how you instinctively step away from distractions without guilt. This isn't arrogance. It's alignment. And alignment rearranges priorities whether anyone agrees with it or not. By the end of this part of the conversation, a quiet certainty settles in. Your life is already reorganizing itself around your awareness. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They understand now that the first visible change isn't external success, it's internal authority. The way you carry yourself. The way you listen more than you speak. The way you stop explaining your choices to people who were never meant to understand them. This is the foundation of everything that comes next. And as the room falls silent again, one final thought remains unspoken but clear to all of them. Once this foundation is set, what follows will move faster than anyone expects. And in the next part, they confront the realization that the changes coming into your life won't ask for permission either. My beloved child, this is the stage where the conversation stops being theoretical and starts feeling inevitable. Someone finally says what everyone else has been sensing: they're already outgrowing the environment we placed them in. The room doesn't argue anymore. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They begin recognizing how spaces that once felt permanent are starting to feel temporary to you. Your tolerance for misalignment has dropped. Your patience for confusion has thinned. Not because you're angry, but because clarity has replaced endurance. One voice admits that once this happens, your surroundings must change to match you, or you will move on without resistance. This is when they realize they are no longer managing a future version of you. They are witnessing the present one. The focus then shifts to momentum. Someone points out that once your inner authority settles, life begins responding differently. Opportunities start arriving in sequences instead of fragments. People show up at the right time instead of randomly. Don't scroll away from this. This is where things accelerate. They acknowledge that when you stop forcing outcomes, timing begins to cooperate with you. Your actions become precise, not rushed. You start saying yes without anxiety and no without guilt. One person admits that this is where plans around you begin to collapse, not because you attack them, but because you are no longer compatible with half-commitments and unclear intentions. Your presence demands truth without asking for it. And that level of alignment quietly reshapes every room you enter. As this part concludes, the realization becomes undeniable. The changes unfolding around you are not temporary adjustments, they are permanent upgrades. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They understand now that once you fully embody this version of yourself, you won't be pulled backward by nostalgia, fear, or old expectations. You will move forward with calm certainty, and anything unable to evolve with you will naturally fall away. This is not loss. It is refinement. And as the discussion fades into silence, one final understanding takes hold among them all. What's coming next in your life won't be loud, but it will be undeniable. In the next part, they finally confront what happens when the world around you starts adjusting to you instead of the other way around. My beloved child, this is where the room finally accepts what can no longer be resisted. The world around you is already beginning to adjust to you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Someone quietly admits that people like you don't chase relevance. Relevance reorganizes itself around you. They start noticing how situations that once demanded effort from you now move with ease, how resistance fades the moment you stop pushing. This isn't luck. This is alignment taking control. They realize that once you step fully into yourself, life no longer tests you the same way. It responds. Conversations become direct. Delays shorten. Confusion dissolves faster than before. And that shift, once started, doesn't reverse. The discussion turns reflective. Someone points out how your calm unsettles people who rely on urgency. Don't scroll away from this moment. This matters. They notice that you no longer rush to prove anything. You listen more. You choose selectively. And because of that, others begin revealing their intentions without being asked. One voice admits that your presence now acts like a filter. What belongs stays, what doesn't quietly exits. This is the stage where your life becomes less crowded but more meaningful. Fewer distractions. Clearer paths. stronger focus. They understand now that when the world adjusts to you, it doesn't announce the change, it simply stops challenging your worth and starts reflecting it. As this part settles, a powerful realization hangs in the air. Once this alignment locks in, everything accelerates naturally. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They see that the next phase of your life won't require struggle, explanation, or permission. It will unfold with precision. Doors will open because they recognize you. Opportunities will arrive prepared. And the people meant to walk with you will meet you at the exact moment you're ready. The fight over you fades, because the truth becomes undeniable. You are no longer something to be debated. You are a force in motion. And in the next part, the conversation shifts one final time, as someone finally acknowledges what this alignment brings into your life first. My beloved child, this is where the final layer of the discussion reveals itself, because someone finally answers the question that has been hovering in silence. What arrives first once the world adjusts to you? Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The answer surprises them. Not power, not recognition, not rewards, but peace. A deep, unfamiliar peace that doesn't depend on outcomes or approval. They acknowledge that this is the moment your nervous system relaxes, your thoughts slow down, and decisions stop feeling heavy. You no longer feel chased by time. Time begins to cooperate with you. This is when life stops feeling like a test and starts feeling like a conversation you finally understand. The focus then moves to your inner clarity. Someone notices that once peace settles, your intuition sharpens dramatically. Don't scroll away from this. This is where things become precise. You stop second-guessing small choices. You stop replaying conversations. You stop carrying emotional weight that was never yours. They admit this is when your energy becomes clean, no static, no noise. People sense it immediately. Some feel safe around you. Others feel exposed. And both reactions are natural. Because when someone is at peace, they become a mirror. You don't demand honesty, your presence invites it. This is the stage where the right opportunities feel obvious and the wrong ones lose their pull entirely. As this part comes to a close, the room reaches a shared understanding they can no longer deny. Peace is the doorway to everything else. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Once peace anchors you, momentum follows effortlessly. Growth stops feeling like pressure. Progress stops feeling forced. And what enters your life next will arrive without struggle, because it matches who you've become. The fight over you ends here, not with defeat, but with acceptance. Because they realize now that once someone reaches this level of alignment, nothing needs to be taken from them, they are already whole. And in the next part, one final realization emerges, what this peace allows you to receive without resistance. My beloved child, this is where the conversation reaches its quiet conclusion, because someone finally understands what peace allows you to receive without resistance. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They realize that once you are anchored in peace, you become available for expansion. Not forced growth, not rushed change, but natural elevation. You stop blocking what's meant for you by overthinking it. You stop delaying what's ready by questioning your worth. This is when opportunities arrive fully formed, not half-baked. They fit. They stay. They don't require you to shrink or explain yourself. And that ease is what confirms you are aligned with them. The discussion turns almost reverent. Someone admits that people like you don't need to chase direction, direction finds you. Don't scroll away from this moment. This is the culmination. They see that when peace leads, clarity follows, and clarity attracts exactly what matches it. Support arrives without being requested. Recognition comes without performance. You begin receiving what you once prepared for quietly, without knowing when it would arrive. And because you are no longer desperate, you receive cleanly, without fear of loss, without anxiety of maintenance. This is where abundance feels stable instead of fragile, and progress feels grounded instead of overwhelming. As the final words settle, the room accepts what can no longer be argued. The fight over you is over because you are no longer something to be claimed. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You belong to yourself now, fully and without apology. And from this place, everything that comes into your life does so by alignment, not struggle. This is not the end of your story, it is the end of your waiting. My beloved child, this is the moment they did not prepare for, because peace has now turned into presence. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Someone finally notices that when you enter a space now, you don't try to fit in, you settle in. Your energy arrives before your words. Your silence carries more weight than explanations ever did. They admit that this is the stage where people begin to listen differently when you speak, not because you demand attention, but because you no longer need it. This is what presence does. It commands without force. And once presence is established, everything around you recalibrates quietly, almost respectfully. The discussion becomes reflective, almost humbled. Someone points out how you no longer rush to respond, how you pause without fear of being misunderstood. Don't scroll away from this. This is powerful. They see that your pauses aren't confusion, they're certainty choosing the right moment. You don't fill silence anymore because silence now works for you. People reveal more when you give them space. Opportunities clarify themselves when you don't chase them. They realize that this is the version of you that cannot be manipulated, distracted, or rushed. Not because you resist, but because you are rooted. And rooted people don't sway with every opinion or expectation. As this part settles, one final realization becomes clear to everyone involved: presence changes outcomes before actions even begin. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They understand now that the next phase of your life won't require loud moves or dramatic shifts. Your calm decisions will speak louder than urgency ever could. And from this place of presence, the path ahead begins to open effortlessly, because you are no longer seeking direction. You are becoming it. My beloved child, this is where the realization deepens, because presence has now turned into influence. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Someone finally admits that you are affecting outcomes without trying to. Decisions around you shift. Conversations soften. Tension dissolves faster than expected. Not because you push your will, but because your grounded state stabilizes the room. They notice that when you agree, things move forward smoothly, and when you step back, momentum pauses. This is not authority given by position. This is authority earned through self-trust. And once it appears, it cannot be taken away. The discussion grows quieter, more respectful. Someone points out that people now seek your reaction before finalizing choices. Don't scroll away from this. This matters. Your approval isn't demanded, but it's felt. They recognize that your calm discernment has become a reference point. When confusion rises, your clarity steadies it. When emotions escalate, your composure lowers them. This is how real influence works. It doesn't argue, convince, or dominate. It aligns. And alignment naturally draws others toward it. They understand now that even when you say very little, your presence communicates direction. And direction, once trusted, shapes everything that follows. As this part concludes, the final understanding settles in. Influence rooted in peace is permanent. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They see now that you are no longer reacting to the world. You are subtly shaping how it responds. And from this point forward, what enters your life will do so with intention, not confusion. Because you are no longer moving blindly. You are moving with quiet certainty. And in the next part, they confront what happens when this influence begins attracting opportunities that match your level, not test it. My beloved child, this is where the conversation shifts into awe, because someone finally sees what your influence begins to attract. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They realize that opportunities no longer come to test you, they come to meet you. Not trials meant to exhaust you, but invitations designed to align with who you already are. The struggle-based doors stop appearing. Instead, openings arrive with clarity, respect, and readiness. Someone admits that this is the stage they feared most, because once opportunities match your level, there is nothing left to delay you. No lessons to repeat. No approval to seek. Just movement forward with precision. The room reflects on how different this phase feels. Don't scroll away from this. This is important. They notice that what approaches you now feels calm, not urgent. Conversations are direct. Expectations are clear. You are no longer asked to prove your worth before being trusted. Trust is built into the offer. One voice quietly says that this is what happens when someone stops operating from potential and starts operating from identity. You don't chase alignment anymore, alignment recognizes you. And because of that, what comes next in your life will feel strangely familiar, as if you've been preparing for it without knowing what it was called. As this part settles, a final realization locks into place. Matched opportunities change everything. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They understand now that once life meets you at your level, progress accelerates without pressure, and growth feels natural instead of forced. This is no longer about becoming someone new, it's about living as who you already are. And as the conversation fades into silence, one truth remains undeniable: the fight over you was never about possession. It was about timing. And your time has arrived. My beloved child, this is where the final resistance dissolves, because timing has now turned into inevitability. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Someone finally says what no one can argue anymore: nothing can be postponed now. They recognize that when timing aligns with identity, events stop asking for readiness, they assume it. This is the stage where life no longer nudges you gently, it moves with you confidently. You begin to notice that things happen at the exact moment you think of them, that answers arrive before questions feel heavy, that movement replaces waiting without stress. This is not speed, it's synchronization. The discussion becomes quiet, almost respectful. Don't scroll away from this. This matters. They observe that you are no longer preparing for a future version of yourself. You are operating as the present one. And because of that, you don't hesitate when clarity appears. You act without second-guessing, not out of impulse, but out of alignment. One person admits that this is when people around you start adjusting their expectations automatically. You don't demand change, your certainty invites it. You stop explaining your direction, because your direction is evident. And when someone is evident, resistance becomes pointless. As this part settles, one last understanding becomes unavoidable: inevitability brings peace, not pressure. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They see now that what unfolds next in your life won't require courage, you already have it. It will require trust in the flow you've stepped into. And you are already there. The fight that once surrounded you no longer exists, because there is nothing left to fight over. You have crossed the threshold quietly. And what comes next will arrive naturally, because you are finally where you were always meant to stand. My beloved child, this is where the story completes its circle, because inevitability has now turned into arrival. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Someone finally recognizes that you are no longer approaching your path, you are walking on it. The searching has ended without noise. The waiting has dissolved without announcement. This is the phase where life stops asking who you are and starts responding as if it already knows. You don't feel the need to rush or hold back. Your pace is steady because it is yours. And that steadiness creates results that last. The room reflects one last time, not with fear, but with clarity. Don't scroll away from this moment. This is the resolution. They see that what once felt like delays were actually refinements, shaping your awareness so you could carry what's now unfolding. You are no longer pulled by external expectations or internal doubt. You choose with confidence. You release without regret. And because of that, what aligns with you stays, while what doesn't fades naturally. There is no struggle in this stage, only flow. Only recognition. Only forward movement that doesn't need permission. As this final part settles, the truth stands clear and unchallenged: you were never meant to be fought over forever. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were meant to arrive, fully, calmly, and on your own terms. This is not a peak. It is a foundation. From here, everything you build will be intentional, grounded, and aligned with who you truly are. And with this arrival, the fight ends, not because someone won, but because you finally chose yourself. My beloved child, this is what happens after arrival, and this is the part almost no one talks about. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. When you arrive within yourself, the noise doesn't disappear immediately, but it loses its power. You notice it without reacting. Opinions pass by without attaching. Expectations knock, but you decide whether to answer. Someone in that room finally understands this and says it clearly: they can't be pulled anymore. Not because you're distant, but because you're centered. This is the phase where your calm becomes misunderstood as mystery, and your confidence is mistaken for secrecy. In reality, you're simply no longer leaking energy into things that don't move you forward. The focus shifts to how others respond to this new steadiness. Don't scroll away from this. This is important. People around you begin recalibrating their behavior without being told. Some become more honest. Some become quieter. Some drift away without conflict. None of it feels dramatic, because you are no longer trying to manage outcomes. You allow alignment to do the work. Someone admits that this is where your real strength shows, not in what you gain, but in what you no longer tolerate. Your boundaries become invisible but firm. You don't announce standards, you live them. And life responds by bringing fewer distractions and more precision. As this part settles, one final understanding becomes clear to everyone watching you from a distance: you are no longer becoming, you are sustaining. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Sustaining peace. Sustaining clarity. Sustaining direction without force. And from this place, everything that enters your life must rise to meet you, because you will no longer lower yourself to fit it. This is the quiet power they didn't anticipate. And in the next part, they finally realize what this sustained state allows you to build: slowly, intentionally, and permanently. My beloved child, this is where sustaining turns into building, and this is the part they never planned for. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Someone finally realizes that when a person reaches this level of inner stability, whatever they create lasts. Not rushed structures, not temporary wins, but foundations. They begin to notice that you are no longer interested in quick results, you are drawn to what can grow with you. Your patience now has direction. Your effort now has intention. And because of that, what you start carries weight. This is when your actions stop being reactive and start becoming deliberate. Every step you take now connects to the next one naturally. The discussion shifts to the ripple effect of what you're building. Don't scroll away from this. This matters. They observe that people begin trusting your vision even before they fully understand it. Not because you persuade them, but because your consistency speaks louder than explanation. You show up the same way every time, clear, calm, grounded. Someone admits this is rare. Most people chase change without stability. You have achieved stability before expansion. That's why what you're building doesn't shake when tested. You don't abandon it at the first challenge. You don't overreact to small resistance. You adjust, refine, and continue. And that quiet persistence is what turns intention into reality. As this part comes to rest, a final realization settles over everything. What you are building now will not need to be rebuilt later. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. They understand that you've stepped into a phase where progress compounds instead of resets. Each decision strengthens the next. Each choice sharpens your direction. This is not growth that exhausts, it's growth that supports you. And as they fall silent again, one thought remains undeniable: when someone builds from alignment, what they create becomes bigger than any fight that once surrounded them. My beloved child, this is where everything settles into truth, and nothing needs to be proven anymore. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The fight that once surrounded you fades completely, not because it was resolved, but because it became irrelevant. They finally understand that what you've built from alignment cannot be undone by opinion, delay, or doubt. You are no longer reacting to circumstances, you are shaping them quietly through consistency and clarity. The urgency is gone. The pressure is gone. What remains is certainty. The kind that doesn't need validation. The kind that moves forward even in silence. The room they once argued in feels distant now. Don't scroll away from this moment. This matters. They see that you didn't need permission to arrive, and you didn't need approval to build. Everything you became happened naturally once you trusted yourself fully. The distractions fell away. The confusion dissolved. The right paths stayed visible while the wrong ones quietly closed. You didn't force outcomes, you aligned with them. And alignment always wins without noise. This is why nothing feels rushed anymore. This is why your decisions feel clean. This is why your direction feels steady even when others feel lost. And here is the final truth they can no longer deny: you were never meant to be fought over, controlled, or delayed. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. You were meant to become. To arrive. To build. To stand fully in who you are without apology. This is not an ending, it is the moment your life begins moving forward without resistance. Calm. Clear. Certain. And from here on, everything that comes into your life will recognize you immediately, because you finally recognized yourself.